so long ago, we lost one of the greatest sax players of all time, David Sanborn, and today I'm going to fanboy out on one of his greatest solos, in my opinion, which is on the track Port of Call. I'm going to show you what's going on in this solo through the eyes of a pro saxophonist, and there is quite a lot going on, even though there's not very much going on. So let's get straight into it and check out this awesome track, and I'll break it all down for you and hopefully peel back the kimono of pop saxophone so you can learn a thing or two. Here we go. So the track Port of Call is from the album As We Speak, and this guy is all over it. It's an absolute classic. I think it's 1982 or something. I'll give you a little blast to the head. Oh, awesome Marcus Miller on this. All right, and here we go. We're going into the outro now, which is where the solo is. He plays 7 phrases, and I'm going to show you all the phrases. They are in concert G sharp minor for alto saxophone. You could call it B major if you want. B major, G sharp minor, it's the same pentatonic. Here we go. What a start. It is so good. Why is it so good? It just is so good. So here we go, straight in. I'm going to break down a lot of the features of this solo so you can see what's really going on under the hood of pop saxophone in the hands of this guy. Okay, first of all, almost every single note in the entire solo is from the same scale, which is that G sharp minor / B major pentatonic on alto. So not an easy key for a start. So the whole thing is on that one scale, pretty much. It's just the odd note. In fact, there might even only be 2 notes in the entire solo that aren't from that pentatonic. With the exception of the 5th, the D sharp is sometimes a little bit bluesy, a bit more like a sort of D natural. So this first phrase steams straight in on that flat and 7th, the F sharp. So I think he's probably fingering the F sharp. I think he probably had a Mark 6. He probably didn't have a high F sharp key. So what I'm doing is front F, so the front F key and the your second finger with side B flat. But of course, what happens is you get that multiphonic split when you just kind of you drop your voicing a bit until you get that multiphonic roar. And how good does it sound? Oh my word. Now, there are a couple of things that happen again and again and again in this solo throughout the 7 phrases, and one of them is this little melodic motif. We should start counting how many times he uses it. There's one straight from the get-go. Well, you might count that because he's going 5, 4, flat 3, 1 of the, that minor pentatonic, so we'll count that as 1. And then 2, so he does it twice in the one phrase. So, okay. Now, the high note up there is G sharp, okay? Now, the way I find it works best on alto for me is to do 1, so you got octave key, then 1, 3, and then I do 1 and 2, and the side C key. But, these altissimo fingerings are quite personal. It's quite easy for that note to go sharp for me, but he is bang in tune. And when he hits that nice long altissimo note, guess what? No vibrato. Wah, ba, 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 tiny gap. And then there's vibrato on the end. Check it out, phrasing wise. No vibrato. And then vibrato on the second one. So little touches that you might never have noticed before. So let's round off the whole first phrase. I'll try and play along. talk about syncopation. Do you want to be any more syncopated than that? It's kind of 16th note. Just get my collar out of the way. 16th note syncopation. And there's the third use of that melodic cell. Let's hear this phrase again. And that's all on the high F sharp. So one take home here is there's a lot of altissimo, and it's pretty difficult altissimo as well. So there's actually two uses of that cell, because the first one goes. There's use one. And it's actually exactly the same as the first phrase. So already you can see he's massively recycling material using the same stuff many times in a row. Right. Now let's talk about phrasing on this second phrase. Remember, there's only 7 phrases. And you can hear that note is on the borderline of cracking. He's on the borderline of cracking all the time, which is really cool. And really nice, punchy, short, crisp, clean articulation. And you can just hear the sort of the emotion and the sort of the smooth, the power, the intensity in the way that he delivers the notes. It's almost like there's a kind of hidden vibrato behind every single note. He's like ringing out, you know, the feeling of every note. Come on! Right, now let's talk about half tonguing, which we haven't mentioned yet. That bottom note is half tongued. So you can hear. Now, half tonguing is where you just leave your tongue lightly on the reed, and it gives it, but you still blow. So your tongue is left on the reed for the duration of the note, but the reed isn't fully sort of dampened, so it kind of vibrates a little bit. Another way of doing it is just to tongue one corner of the reed. So, I'm getting gassed playing this solo, it's so intense. Sanborn does it at the, you know, when there's a note at the bottom of the phrase. So, let's check out all the notes that are half-tongued. Actually, the second one isn't, just the first one. Now, once you pull your tongue away from the reed, after you've half-tongued that note, the next note is kind of articulated. So this actual phrase is D sharp, C sharp, B, G sharp, C sharp. So you half-tongue the G sharp, and then you pull your tongue away for the C sharp. I can't get my sling height right. See how it works? Okay, let's move on. Phrase 3. Woo! Now, I think this is the one where he turns the D sharp into a D flat. So you start with the high note, the high G sharp. and then F sharp, and then D, C sharp, B, G sharp. Still basically using that blues scale. And that G sharp, no vibrato. See how like smooth and beautiful and powerful and rhythmic that is. And let's see if there's any half tonguing in there. Yeah, so the bottom note again is half tongued. To give you that kind of light and shade in the phrasing. Fourth phrase. So let's have a little recap of some of the things which he's already recycling for the whole solo. Number one, holding F sharps and high G sharps. Whether it be punched on the syncopation or just held, and then the high G sharp. And he quite often scoops up to that G sharp, which you can do by just adding the side C just after the note starts and then using your voicing to bend up. Another thing that he uses all the time so far is or those little cells he's used, I've lost count now, what is it, 4 or 5 times so far. Here we go. And again, really punchy, aggressive, rhythmic sort of articulation. I'm struggling with that top G sharp. And you can hear the F sharp again, just sort of slightly breaks, doesn't it? And then vibrato on the high G sharp at the end. So there's another little thing to point out. On the end of the final altissimo note of the phrase, he adds a vibrato, but not for the long note. There you go. No vib, vibrato. Right, I'm going to briefly interrupt this broadcast to say one thing, two things actually. First thing, go and check out my Saxophone Success Masterclass, which can instantly transform how good you sound on sax. It's absolutely brilliant. You just use the link in the description, fill in your email. Robert's your father's brother. Second thing, it's really hard to get the number of subs going in the channel, and I want to reach as many people as possible. So do us a favor and click the subscribe button. Thank you very much. Super appreciate that. Let's get back to the maestro. Okay, 5, 6, 7. We've got 3 more phrases. Now, another feature of this style is there are kind of hidden shadow notes underneath the main notes that you might not really be aware of or be able to hear very clear. Like you think the rhythm is but it's more likely because of that half tonguing and ghosting. So the main rhythm is, okay? But once you add in the ghosting, you see what I mean? It fills out the gaps. It's so good. Let's try and play along with that. Now we've had that before already, the high F sharp, you know, offbeat syncopations. Let me try and get that phrase one more time a bit better. Right, now we've got the highest note of the whole thing, which goes up to high B, which is the highest note in the solo. But we're repeating the motif from before, scooping into a non-vibrato high G sharp. So for the B, I'm doing third finger right hand, three fingers left, third finger left hand, three fingers right hand, and the palm D key. Now the palm D key is the most important part of this altissimo because really we are overblowing a sixth to get the B using the palm key D fingering, and then you put down your third finger and your three other fingers just to kind of make it work better. And I've got side C as well. Side C, sometimes people call the side C the sort of alternative altissimo octave key, which is kind of an interesting concept. So, let's hear that again. Okay, this is the final phrase. Spray that again. This is the final phrase. Right, now this is the only time he uses a note not in the pentatonic. Check it out. He uses the ninth. And he uses it one more time. So there's two A sharps. Right there. Okay, so. And again, half tonguing there. Now then, there's a sort of downward kind of voicing bend there. Check this out. I'm going to slow it right down for you guys. See what I mean? And a bunch of half tonguing. So let's hear that at full speed, Rooney. Oh, how good is that? The phrasing. And what you might call the TS to Picardy to the major at the end. So that's the whole solo. Here's what it sounds like kind of all strung together so you can hear all the component pieces. Now listen, you're going to hear this again and again. And. Okay? And see how many times you can count those things happening. Incidentally, right until the very last phrase, the whole range of the thing never goes lower than a middle D sharp. So the whole solo is contained in the powerful part of the instrument. He's never going... He doesn't use the bottom register of the horn virtually at all in the whole solo. So, really important little observation there. Okay, here's the whole thing, guys. What a solo. Okay, so what can you learn from it? What can you learn from it as a hobby enthusiastic, some people hate the word hobby, it triggers them, hobby enthusiastic saxophonist? Well, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you take a solo. You can have a couple of really strong ideas, and if you execute them with awesome phrasing, great sound, Great longs and shorts, gate phrasing. I talked about this quite a lot on the channel. You can really make a big impact. Let's go back to full screen for a sec. So you might hear educators like me say, yeah, so you can, you know, play a solo using the minor pentatonic scale, but then your solo might end up like... But Dave Sanborn is also using the minor pentatonic. I almost did the one with the extra note. So it's not necessarily the scale that you use, it's the way you use that scale, which is super important. How'd you learn how to use that scale? From him. From Sanborn. That's who you learn it from. You just go to records like this and you work out what he's playing and then you throw it into your own songs. So let's take, just to finish off, let's take one little phrase that he plays. Let's say, let's take that one phrase and let's say that you were playing Chameleon at a jam session and it's in concert B flat, which is G for alto. You go, you might go, it took me a couple of goes to get that. That is a super hip thing to play, and you got it straight from the horse's mouth. Sorry, Dave, not calling you a horse, but we got it from your mouth. And you string together a couple of them, and you've got a wicked sounding solo, which is using the scale that we all tell you to use, but using it in a way which is really meaningful. I've got a few other videos on how to use the blues scale. I'll try and put them in the description. So, woo! I am pumped. I'm excited about Sanborn's solo. I hope you are too. Right, as I mentioned earlier, go and check out the free Saxophone Success Masterclass. It's yours. Just fill in your email. Nice headphone here, mate. And if you're inside the Inner Circle membership, I might even write the transcription out and put it on a PDF. I'm not gonna promise that, guys, but there's all loads of cool stuff like that inside the Inner Circle membership, and that's doesn't even scratch the surface of how cool that membership is. So if you want to be part of something really special and really improve your saxophone playing and don't feel alone, and you can share your woes and you can celebrate your triumphs with a whole bunch of other people just like you, and you get access every single day to me, go and check out the Inner Circle membership. Honestly, it's absolutely wicked. If you buy a coffee a day or something, it pays for it. It's insane. It's so good. And until next week, make sure that you practice hard, practice smart, enjoy your music, and I shall take it easy. Let's try that again, shall we? Practice hard, practice smart, enjoy your music, take it easy. I totally muffed that up. Success Masterclass. I'm going to bring up my bloody smoke back cool salad. Not so long ago, we lost one of the greatest sax players that has ever graced the world's stage. That's a really bad intro.